Welcome to Your Mortgage Matters, brought to you by Angel Oak Home Loans, your weekly look into what's new in the mortgage business and how it impacts you. And now your host, Matt Kreger.
Welcome back to Your Mortgage Matters podcast, Angel Oak Home Loans. I'm Matt Kreger, Senior Vice President of Sales at Angel Oak, and we have three special guests with us today, Rick, Joanna, and Amy. Rick Dale is our market leader in Raleigh, North Carolina. Joanna is a top producer for us in Raleigh. And Amy is a real estate professional. We're going to learn more about her today and focus on how we can win in the Raleigh real estate market and how to translate that nationally. I appreciate you joining in today into Your Mortgage Matters podcast. Joanna, let me turn it to you. If you'll please introduce our guest, Amy, and tell us about your relationship with her.
Sure. So it's my pleasure to introduce Amy Grettenstein. She's with the Boone team and Real Estate by Design. Amy and I have known each other for quite a while now. I have lost track of what it is, and we've done a number of deals together. One of the reasons that I enjoy working with Amy is not only is she incredibly professional and knowledgeable and just will go after whatever needs to be done during a transaction, but she's always kind and pleasant while doing it. So I appreciate her professionalism and friendship.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today.
So one of the things we do here on Your Mortgage Matters podcast is we want to help realtors, builders, referral partners, and even our future homeowners learn about the resources they have as it relates to Angel Oak Home Loans. We want to put our customers first and foremost in serving them and learning how to best apply for a loan and how to close efficiently and quickly and most importantly, easily. So today, our goal and commitment to you would be, let's discuss with a real estate professional like Amy and with mortgage professionals like Rick and Joanna, the best way that we can help position you to put your family in a home. So Amy, let me turn to you first from a real estate professional perspective. What are your go-to resources that you help market and educate clients in your marketplace on how to get a home loan?
Yeah, absolutely. When we first meet with a buyer, whether it's incredibly casual, introductory, or more in-depth, ready to take action, we start to uncover where they're at in life, if they've ever owned, if purchased, sold, do they currently own a home, and kind of go forwards and backwards from there so that we can kind of identify what kind of loan products they may need or may qualify for, and, what kind of programs might be available, a VA buyer program, a USDA program, a first-time homeowner program. Maybe they're a small business owner and they need some, bank statement programs. There's lots of options out there. And so kind of having those conversations lets us dig into which direction they need to go from there.
Amy, next question for you would be, can you tell us a little bit about how long you've been in the industry and kind of how you came upon real estate?
Yeah. I previously was in B2B sales, working in the financial services industry. I enjoyed my business development, but didn't really love working in corporate America. So I had my eye on real estate and finally took the leap along with my husband and business partner, Jeff Boone of the Boone team. And and so we both became real estate agents, him in 2014 and myself in 2015, and, have built our business since. And he also came from the B2B corporate world. And so we kind of brought our experiences from both account management and business development into our business. And it's really helped us have a strong foundation and, know how to grow our sphere and our client base while also giving ourselves autonomy to be able to really treat each client individually exactly how they need us to, treat them, as opposed to kind of filling them into a mold.
I think I'm going to call Amy every morning just to get the motivational talk.
Right?
Joanna, can you tell us how long you've been in the industry, how you got to the mortgage industry, and a little bit about what you've grown in your career? How many families have you helped get into homes?
Holy cow, was not prepared for that question. There have been a lot of families that I've helped over the years, and hundreds and hundreds, I would say. I've been in for 8 years, and I came to this industry from a kind of a curvy road. My background is in design and business, and I've managed lots of people over the years, and really enjoy working with people in problem solving. The appeal to me is the excitement of it, like no day is the same, as well as just being able to fit the puzzle pieces together for a family and just walk alongside them as they're making the biggest purchase of their lives. That's why I do this. That's really the only reason why I do it.
Joanna, how does the handoff work between you and Amy? Because this is an open market and there's 1,000 lenders. So one, why would Amy refer you, and how does that handoff work? That way a borrower knows there's a lot of integrity in y'all's relationship.
Sure. Amy does this really well. She always gives me a heads up, so she'll call me first and tell me what's going on and what I need to know to begin with, and then she'll introduce us normally via email or text. And it's, here's who Joanna is, here's who this buyer is, and this is how I need you two to work together. So she does better than a warm introduction. And Amy's very intentional about referring me, the lender, or any lender that she feels is appropriate by that direct approach. I don't think that she leaves it to chance.
Amy, what challenges have you seen in the last, I was going to say like 90, 120 days, but I do feel like the market's changing weekly now. So what challenges do you feel like you've faced this summer or the market's face, and how have you overcome those?
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of noise in the media and out in the world about what's going on in the buyer's market or the seller's market. But those macro looks, of the entire United States are not the same thing as an individualized, city or town or even neighborhood. And so overcoming all of those things, why are some houses selling in multiple offers for tens, 20s, hundreds of thousands of dollars over list price, and others not selling in 30 or 40 days? And so to overcome some of those things, being quick with resources for our buyers and being on top of where the rates are, that we've talked about them going up all summer, but they're actually a little bit lower than they were at the beginning of the summer. And so staying on top of those conversations with my lender partners has been a great way to combat the noise that's happening and get over those hurdles that buyers are facing currently.
Joanna, when we talk about some homes being on the market a long period of time and some quick, like Amy was just talking about, what happens when you have a qualified applicant who's trying to sell a home with Amy and it just won't sell in a certain amount of time? How do you continue to converse with a client? How do we know they're still qualified 90 days from now for what they're looking for? Walk me through the process of what happens when we're delayed on the sale of a house.
Yeah, well, that never happens. So, no, I'm just kidding. So as people have been shopping and shopping, and it's just been, knocking on 120 days and they're still looking for houses, it's kind of different than what Amy was talking about, a house being listed for sale. I mean, with all the multiple buyers, there's just sometimes patience. So I definitely see my role oftentimes as a counselor and mentor and encourager. So all those things, as well as just reminding them that I'm still there paying attention, and no, they don't have to put in a new application if it's been 3 months. We'll refresh what we have and go from there. So just me remaining calm and encouraging seems to be one of the best tools that I can do to help encourage buyers.
I do think there's a counselor element to the job of a mortgage professional, and Joanna, you do it as well as anybody. I appreciate you sharing that. Amy, you've described so well how you're helping your clients. How do you market yourself within your footprint? Because I'm sure there's a lot of real estate professionals that offer services. So how do you market yourself to separate yourself to the rest of the market?
I encourage open dialogue, whether someone's ready to purchase now or it's just a lofty dream for the future. Maybe I often talk about transitions. And so I'm having this conversation with my referral partners, with my friends, my neighbors. When someone's in transition, whether it's they're just graduating, they're getting a new job, they're getting downsized from a job, they're relocating for a job, marriages and proposals and births of babies, surprise births of extra babies, nothing like finding out you're having twins, right? To trigger a conversation about housing and what your current housing situation is and what you want it to be, and maybe what steps you need to take to get there. And by continuously having these conversations over and over and over again, I just make myself a resource for people. And I do it freely and openly with no strings attached. And it creates, an opportunity for people to feel like they really have a partner when it comes to making their buying decisions versus sales tactics, someone who's just trying to convert them into a purchase. And so I really think that helps me stand out in a crowded marketplace.
I completely agree. Everyone is so intimidated with the largest purchase that they'll have in their life, being their mainstay residence for their family. Amy, it's so refreshing to hear a real estate professional like yourself talk about the human element of caring for that person in front of you and not just about let's go through the real estate options, because I do think once everyone is appreciated and heard and their needs are met, so much easier to help them find a home. So it's so refreshing to hear that answer. Joanna, when you look at the market today, what's one piece of advice you would give homeowners now with some of the challenges we face? How can I get ready, or anyone to get ready to buy a home?
Strangely enough, it's the same as I would tell them anyway, in whatever market we're in, and that is to surround yourself with a team that you trust, with your realtor and your lender. Get pre-approved before you start shopping, which most any realtor is going to require. And I always just want to educate and empower people to buy within their means and their comfort zone, to make sure that they're looking at their monthly payment and their total cash available to put towards the purchase, as opposed to focusing exclusively on rate and other things that truly they won't remember. But they definitely will remember how much they put out of pocket and how much they put out of pocket each month. So those are the kind of things that I focus on with buyers.
Absolutely. It's interesting that you said it's the same advice you'd give no matter the market. I think there are so many great foundational items that you do as a professional, Joanna, to get people ready, that everybody can appreciate. Talking and dealing with not just a real estate professional, but also the mortgage professional. These are the two most important positions in buying a home, is making sure that you have the real estate professional that represents your family well and your needs, and also the mortgage professional that is an expert, that understands products, that understands individual situations of how income is earned in credit situations throughout life. Rick Dale, our fearless leader in Raleigh, North Carolina, what is going on with interest rates? What's happened this summer, and what do you forecast and see in interest rates for the rest of the year?
Gosh, the 35,000 foot version of it is, over the last 2 to 3 years, we've all lived through historically difficult and volatile times, not just in mortgage, not just in finance, but in any industry you can think of. For what Amy has had to deal with, what we've had to deal with, Joanna, is how to talk clients through that process. We sort of need to be able to have conversations with clients that will talk through what are the best case scenarios, what is your option B, and maybe what is even an option C. It's just been very challenging, very emotional, and even in normal times, this is a stressful and emotional process. What's the volatility and the challenges we faced over the last several months, even 18 months, has been just historically difficult.
Excellent. Thank you, Rick, for that answer related to the market now and some of the challenges we face. As we close out here on your Mortgage Matters podcast, I want to ask Amy Grettenstein of Real Estate by Design on the Boone team. Can you tell us what's your most memorable client that you've closed or most impactful situation where you feel like your real estate profession has helped someone?
Oh man, that is a tough one because as we constantly mention, buying a house is incredibly emotional. Most of us never spend this kind of money in our lives in any way, shape, or form. We don't do any type of, acquisitions outside of just owning a home. And so it's always a really personal, in-depth journey of success for all of our buyers. But one that, comes to mind is a pretty close friend of mine. And they have two children and both work in the, I would say, financial world, but let's scratch that. I don't want to say they work in the financial world. One that comes to mind is an actual personal close friend of ours who, husband, wife, two kids, two incomes, they work hard, but this market is just so unkind sometimes, unless you just really have an extra leg up or you just, luck into something. They were, busting at the seams once they added their second kid to the family of their first home. And they really were focused on getting into a solid school district for their son. And so we started working together in January of 2021, coached through a bunch of things, got all the things lined up. But the world took off pretty quickly. And there's just not enough cash flow to compete with some of these intense multiple offers. In North Carolina, we have really large due diligence deposits that are non-refundable if your offer is accepted. And, we went from seeing $1,200 or $2,000 to seeing $20,000, $30,000. And most average families just don't have $30,000 sitting around that they can part with, let alone risk. And so, it was an extreme challenge to overcome that, as well as multiple offers of tens of thousands of dollars over the list price of these homes that were already nearing the top of their budget, if not at the peak of it. And we wrote 9 offers over 10 months. And I think we counted 63 showings. And that doesn't include all the houses that we researched that we ultimately didn't see for whatever reason. Maybe they went under contract before we got a chance to even see them. And it's a lot, and it's a mental roller coaster. I mean, you have to put all your eggs in this basket. You have to risk basically an annual salary promising to buy this house. And then you have to determine it's the right fit for your family, maybe in 30 minutes or so. And this is going to be a decision that impacts you both financially, but also every aspect of your life for the foreseeable future, years to come. And, it's just incredible pressure to make all of these decisions really fast. And then to not get the house, an entire tsunami wave of crashing emotions. And then you don't want to do it again. You don't want to start over. You don't want to love another house. And so we have this philosophy. We don't call it the perfect house. We call it the right house. The right house at the right time is going to work out. And, there's so many amazing houses out there, and you just never know what the universe thinks is the right house for you. And so we saw a house that was at the very top of their budget, and we'd been losing offers, $40,000 to $60,000 over list price for months. And we did not have enough wiggle room. We were already putting in offers non-contingent on the sale of their house, despite that they were financially completely contingent on selling their house. We were risking $30,000 that they had borrowed from themselves out of their 401k to do a 401k loan so that they had cash advance to be able to participate in this entire process. And the best offer they could do, stretching their already stretched budget an extra $8,000, was just shy of $20,000 over list price. And then we sat and waited. And the right house at the right time always works out, because the agent called and told us we got the house. The ninth offer was the house. It was the single best house we put an offer in on all year. And it's the best fit for them all around. And the reason they accepted our offer was because it was the seller's birthday, and they were stressed out about this whole process, and they felt like our offer was good enough to really great, being $20,000 over list price. And so they didn't want to sit around and do any more offers. So they took ours so that they could go celebrate their birthday. And it just worked out. And I very rarely cry during transactions, but I definitely cried during that, getting that news and being able to tell them they were getting that house. It was a big moment for all of us, because it had been a long time coming.
What a moving story, a life story of someone, Amy, who's on the Boone team with Real Estate by Design, has shared with us on someone in her personal sphere, a client that she helped, and that changed the course of their ability to be able to buy a home, to be able to put their family in a place that's safe and secure. Amy, thank you for sharing that emotional and personal story with us. Joanna Walker is a top producer, someone who's helped hundreds of families get into homes. Can you tell us a story in your career, in the last year even, huge impact, something that happened that changed the course for a family?
I actually thought of two, and I'll make it relatively brief. One was a refinance, and it's not a refinance because they just wanted a lower rate. It was a refinance out of necessity and not during the low rate times. This is a single mom whose ex-husband said that she would never, ever be able to separate herself from him and afford to do the house by herself. And she had been to probably 6 other lenders when she arrived with me. And I talked with her and I looked at it, and we just have such good internal resources in the form of people, not just products, but we have a lot of people who care and are willing to just look at loans with me to see how we can make it work. And we did for her. And she was so incredibly thrilled to be able to be independent of her ex-husband and to show her children that she had the ability and the confidence and the wherewithal to make it happen. So that was a pretty cool transaction. And the other one was a couple who own a business. And they had gone to another lender who is, all these lenders are good lenders. It's not that they're not good lenders. Sometimes they just can't figure out how to make stuff happen. So I get a lot of rescue loans this way. And so I had a couple who were self-employed and had gone under contract, like Amy was saying, significant amount down, a lot of risk involved, and really super stressed because they had been told after going through the process that it wasn't going to work. And so when they get to me at peak stress, Again, I looked at their file, pulled in the resources that I needed to pull in, because when another lender who I respect a lot turns it down, then there's got to be a reason. And so I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. And so as I'm looking through it and figuring out, we can make it happen. And I didn't even have to turn to a portfolio loan. We could do it as a conventional loan. And really did turn around and close it. I had to do a lot of educating and manipulating, not manipulating in a bad way, but manipulating their what they had provided to me to make it make sense in the format of a loan. And actually removing one of the borrower's income totally from the file, which seems counterintuitive. But it was having the resources and the knowledge and the experience and, again, the calmness of being able to communicate to be able to make it happen. And we did. We closed not only that loan, but I ended up closing another one for him on a second home purchase a year later.
Wow. Amazing story, Joanna. Thank you for sharing that personal story of how you helped that family. Today's been such a pleasure on Your Mortgage Matters podcast with Rick Dale, our leader in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Joanna Walker, top producer, and Amy Grettenstein, who is on the Boone team at Real Estate by Design. And we've shared many personal stories. That matters more to me than anything, that we're helping people in the marketplace get their family into a home. These three professionals have shared with us information that's helpful in today's market. I do appreciate the time that all of you spent. Please visit our website, angeloakhomeloans.com. angeloakhomeloans.com. You'll find videos and interviews and plenty of information that'll help you with the services that we offer. Please pick up the phone and call our licensed mortgage professionals. There is a drop down for any state that you live in. We're local too, so please drop down, find your state, and find a mortgage professional that can be personal for you and someone you can have contact with. Joanna Walker on this call today is one of those in North Carolina that can help you out. And again, the fact that Amy Grettenstein shared her time with us as a leader in the marketplace and also on the Boone team at Real Estate by Design, we're grateful for your time, and I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll talk to you on the next podcast.
Thank you.
Have a great one. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Your Mortgage Matters podcast, brought to you by Angel Oak Home Loans, where achieving your unique personal or business goals for financial success matters to us. It's all about you. Help us educate others. Please pick up your mobile device and hit the like and share button now. Angel Oak Home Loans, LLC, NMLS 685842, Equal Housing Lender.